Hey there, TubeUbers. I was just watching some of the EVO 2014 from Las Vegas. Goes on the whole weekend. Evolution 2014. If you don't know what it is, Google it. So yeah, it's actually Friday, and this is for the Q&A. I'm just going to do the questions I have now, or as many as I can get through until I feel that it's a sufficient length for a video, and I'll probably wrap up any other questions from anybody else come Tuesday. So I just want to get some of these out of the way. I don't know how intricate into the answers I'm going to get. I don't know how long it's going to take. So I just didn't want to have to rush around. So in between watching EVO and sitting in, I don't know, 95-degree weather, probably about 98 in this room right now, and it's going to be in the mid to high 90s for the next 5 days, and it's already been in the 90s for 5 days. Boy. So yeah, this is for the Q&A. Thanks to everybody that submitted question or questions so far. Like I said, if there's more and there needs to be another video, then I'll do another video. But I just want to get this out of the way so I didn't have to rush around. I'm just going to start with the first person who asked a question and just work my way up. And the first question was from Nready. And he says, what is the least favorite film that you own in your collection? Well, it's actually in that set right there, which is the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection, and it is the movie Marnie. I would not own Marnie on its own if it was given to me. If it was given to me, I would step on it and crush it to little pieces. I absolutely hate the movie Marnie. I think it is the worst Hitchcock film he's ever done. I cannot stand it. I do not like one thing about it. It is a terrible film, in my opinion, and if it was not in that Masterpiece Collection with other stuff on that disc in that same little set box thing, it would not be in my collection. I absolutely hate Marnie. Next up, Casey's Splattertube. He asked a couple different questions here. What's your favorite Romero Dead film? Easy for me. Dawn of the Dead. It was one of the first horror movies that I had seen, along with like Evil Dead and Reanimator. So it holds a really special place in my heart. The music, the overall feel of them being in the mall, because mega malls were pretty, they weren't really super commonplace back when that movie was done. So just seeing the mall, and I love all the different stores that they go into, and I just love the color of the blood, and there's just the characters are so enjoyable, Flyboy, and just certain scenes, the zombie stepping up and getting the top of his head cut off with the helicopter blade. Just so many things I remember about that movie. I could watch it any day of the week, any time of the day, it doesn't matter. I absolutely love Dawn of the Dead. His second question is, what's your favorite Lucio Fulci film? For me, it's The Beyond. Not really sure why. Just something about that movie. Whenever I hear the name Lucio Fulci, The Beyond automatically pops into my head, and I get a smile from ear to ear of how much I enjoyed that film. Yeah, so The Beyond. His next question, what's the best Blu-ray you own as far as HD picture, but it has to be an older movie from the 80s or before? And he says he just watched Zombie from '79 that looks amazing. I would have to say, for me, Blu-ray wise, an older film that looks good, I would have to go with, let me see here. Yeah, I would have to go with Young Frankenstein. I just think that this transfer is absolutely beautiful. It's so crisp and clean, and yeah, so Young Frankenstein has to be the one that's the best. Plus, it's the Blu-ray I've watched the most for the older films that I have being put onto Blu-ray. Yeah, it's just a beautiful picture though. So yeah. Next up here, Aaron Penn has a couple different questions. Worst movie I have ever seen. Well, Marnie. Let's just throw that in there again. I despise you, Marnie. Marnie. Red Mist. Yeah. I tend to not remember bad movies I've seen because I don't want them clogging up my head. But when I see the cover of the film or I see the name, I'll be like, oh yeah, that film. I hated that piece of crap. But yeah, off the top of my head, I would have to say Marnie. I just really, really hate Marnie. So much. So much. If anybody out there likes Marnie, explain to me what you like about Marnie. I don't know. Next question he asks, favorite food? My favorite food is Chinese food. And I just had some today. And General Tso's chicken, sweet and sour, noodles. I just love it. I guess more of the traditional Americanized Chinese food, not like the chicken feet and eyeballs or whatever else. But yeah, I just love Chinese food. The flavors, the spiciness. Yeah. Best gift that I was ever given. Well, my best gift that I've ever been given would have to be my wife. Because I just think she is a gift from the heavens. There is no gift I could get that would ever be better than her. Next question. How did me and Tina meet? Well, back in the day there used to be this site called MySpace. And back in the olden times when you used to rub sticks together for fire, there was a site called MySpace. Yeah, we met on MySpace. Yeah, we talked back and forth for months and months and months, and she didn't really have any money or anything to get here, and we knew we wanted her to get here. She lived in a really small town that really probably wouldn't have gotten her anywhere, I don't think. So she actually got a job at McDonald's and worked enough to get a couple paychecks to pay for her own bus fare out here to come and live with me. So, yeah, she's just incredible. Yeah, I just love her to death. But yeah, we met on MySpace, talked back and forth, and it just came to what it is now. So, yeah, 6 years later, here we are. Favorite Saturday morning cartoon? Transformers? I believe that was a Saturday morning cartoon. Yeah, Transformers. Absolutely. Generation 1. Just love Transformers. Worst comic book I have ever read. If I remember correctly, back in like 2002, 2003, there was a book, I think put out from Marvel called Trouble. And it was a terrible cover. It was like two girls on the cover or something like that. But it was basically like a young Aunt May and a young Uncle Ben, like young, like 20s-ish or whatever, like hanging out, and like sexy Aunt May and stuff like that. I just can't shake the image of a young Aunt May and sexy times and Uncle Ben and other horseplay and tomfoolery going on. I just remember that being in a horrible comic, and that's about the time I stopped collecting and reading comics. Ooh, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that was the one of the worst comics I've ever read. Next up here, Film Game Junkies. This first question, what is the most recent movie that you couldn't finish because you hated it? Well, here's my thing with movies. Even if I start watching them and I hate them, I will finish watching them. Just to get them under my belt, just to torture myself to the most extreme limits of crappiness. I will continue to watch the film, but as the DVD or Blu-ray counter is ticking down, I will be counting the minutes until that movie is over. So yeah, I can't really think of what the most recent movie would have been that if I turned it off, I would have turned it off. Let me see. Seems like there was one that me and the wife watched on TV, but after it was over, we were like, "Why did we finish? Why did we even finish watching this?" But I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. It's like I said in one of my one of the things. I tend not to remember shitty films that I've seen. I try to forget them immediately, so I can't really think of it. But I tend to, if I start watching a film, I will finish it. That's just, yeah, that's just what I do. His next question, what is my chosen drink while having movie night? Well, funny enough, water. I drink a lot of water. I started drinking water like 5-6 years ago. It's just my beverage of choice. Yeah, I don't know. I guess because even when water gets hot, I don't know, the flavor to me doesn't really change, so I can like drink back on it, unlike, alcohol or juices or anything like that. When that stuff gets hot, it's just kind of like, so yeah, water. His next question, where would my ideal vacation spot be? London. I would love to go to London. Whenever I see it on TV or something, it just amazes me. Plus, I'm a big fan of Doctor Who and Avengers and things like that. So I would love to go to London. It would be fantastic. And his last question is, what is the first film I remember seeing in movie theaters? It would have to be Gremlins. Yeah, my brother took me to see Gremlins when I was a little guy, and I remember the Mogwais and the Gremlins themselves, and just being amazed by that film. But that's the one movie that stands out in my head that I remember seeing in theaters. If there was one before that, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Gremlins was probably the first film I ever actually saw at the cinema. So there we go. Let's see if I can get maybe one more question in. This is from The Omen. What's my favorite Carpenter movie? My favorite Carpenter movie is The Thing. The music. I love horror films that take place in the snow, like a big snowy wasteland. So yeah, The Thing. My favorite Wolfgang Peterson movie would probably be Outbreak. I like movies that... I think the movies that are creepiest to me are the ones of things that could actually really happen, like a big outbreak of some wacky Ebola-type virus that you could catch by sneezing or touching something. That's just really creepy stuff. Because the government has all these different viruses and stuff that they're just waiting to unleash upon the masses at some point to see how much devastation they can do. So yeah, it would have to be an Outbreak. And then he asked another question, have I ever seen any of the Carry On films? No, I have not. And have I been watching the World Cup football? Well, I was entered in a contest to my friend Sparky Gerbil, and I had the Netherlands, or Holland, as my team. So I was actually kind of paying attention more this year than I ever have before. So I haven't been watching them, but I definitely had been checking online and looking in the paper and stuff to see how the team that was picked for me was doing. And that's the other weird thing, too. Over here, of course, in America, it's called soccer, and we have football. But to me, soccer over here should still be called football, because in our football, the only person in football, our football, that uses their feet is the kicker. Otherwise, they do everything with their hands. So our football should be called handball, and our soccer should just be called football, because that's what it is. You use your feet. So yeah, and his last question before I end part 1 of the Q&A, what make and model car do you have? None. I do not drive. I use public transportation, and I use my feet to get around. So yeah, so there we go. There's the end of part 1. I'm going to go watch a little bit more Evo 2014, and I will do a part 2 because there's some other questions coming up. And yeah, so if you actually watch this all the way through, I appreciate it. Thank you for the questions. I don't think I had any demon voice this time around. Sweet. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, spread the word, and cheers.